We are starting Vihine on page Kufay. Vihine be'arnu adheina hachasidus mashatolui b'maisa u'be'oifen ha'asiyah. Until this point, we explained the madrega of Chasidus that's totally in actions, maisim. Uneva'irato hatolui b'kavana. Now we're going to talk about the Chasidus that's totally in a person's intention, in a person's mindset, which is obviously goes a little deeper. Sometimes it's easier to get our maisim in line, but to get our machshavos in line, our thought process, our feelings, thoughts, realities, that's a whole other world sometimes. Ukvar dibarnu gamkein l'mayla me'inyan l'shma v'shaloi l'shma l'madrego yisayim. The Mesilas Yesharim has already earlier in the Sefer discussed the different madregos of serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'shma and shaloi l'shma. But now he's going to describe a certain shaloi l'shma and l'shma that are really a high level. The shaloi l'shma is a high level, the not l'shma is a high level, and the l'shma is certainly a high level. But it could be we'll have what to learn from both of them. Okay? Omnam vadai. He says one thing is certain. Shemisha miskavein ba'avoidosai, someone whose intention in his avoida is litaher nafshay lifnei boiroi, to purify his nefesh in front of his creator. In other words, I'm serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What do I want? If I serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu because I want the ultimate enjoyment and experience and nachas and joy and connection of sitting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yeah, it's Loi Lishma, because it's about I want to enjoy it. It's hard to say that that person is doing something wrong. Like, why are you serving Hashem now? Because I just want to sit and be close to Hashem. Good or bad? Sounds good. If you think about it, there's an element of Loi Lishma there, because it's still you're doing it for yourself, not for Hashem. But it's the highest level of Loi Lishma possible. Not for the purpose of Shemayim, not for the purpose of Hashem.
It's like selfish.
It's selfish. I selfishly want to be a big tzaddik because tzaddikim have the best life. Halavai, we should have that selfish motive, right? But it's still a selfish motive. But he says you can't call it bad. Let's see what he says. He says, Misha miskavein ba'avoidasei l'taher nafshay lifnei boiroi, someone whose intention in his avodah is to purify himself in front of his creator, l'ma'an tizke lo sheves espanav, so that he could sit with Hashem, like espnei Hashem, in front of Hashem. Bichlal hayisharim v'achasidim, to be included in the straight ones, in the chasidim, in the tzaddikim. Lachazois b'noyam Hashem u'levaker b'heichaloi, to be able to bask in the sense of closeness with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, u'lekabel hagmul asher ba'olam haba, and to receive the schar of olam haba, lo nucha loimer shetiyeh kavana zu ra'ah. We can't say that this is a bad kavana. It's hard to say that this is a negative kavana. Achein lo nucha loimer gamkein shetiyeh hayoser tova, but we also can't say that it's the best kavana. Ki ad sheha odam miskavein l'tovas atzmai, as long as a person's kavana, as long as a person's intention is for himself, soif avoidasei l'tzayrech atzmai, it comes out that he's serving Hashem, not to serve Hashem, but really ultimately to serve himself. So while the Ramchal says I would never look down on someone, I wouldn't call him Ra, someone who serves Hashem, because he selfishly wants to be sitting with all the tzaddikim in Olam Haba, enjoying closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not a bad kavana. But there's an element missing in that kavana. And the element that's missing is that we're not being similar to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world not for himself. Hashem created this world to give to us. If we say, oh Hashem, you created this world to give to us, well, I'm going to try to get whatever you have to give. In a way, that's different than Hashem. If I wanted to be like Hashem, I would live in my world for the purpose of Hashem, just like Hashem created His world for my purpose, I would respond also selflessly. HaKadosh Baruch Hu selflessly created a world for us, and we selflessly say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I know you created the world for us, but we just want to serve you. That's a perfect match. And that's what he goes on to say. Ach ha-kavona ha'amitis, the true kavona, ha-metzuya b'chasidim, that you find by chasidim, asher tarchu v'hishtadlu lehasiga, that they toiled and they worked hard to reach it, hu sheyeh ha'odam oived rak leman asher kvoidoi shel ha'odain baruch hu yigdal v'yirbe. That's that a person serves just for the purpose that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kavod should increase. I'm toiling today in Torah just in honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not about me, it's about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now this is not, that's the madrega, that's the ultimate madrega.
If you have, let's say, we're just fully focused on Hashem and I don't have any desire at all, it's just for Hashem.
Right.
No gain, I'm not gaining anything.
Well, I gain that my deepest wish, my deepest wish is to honor Hashem. That's my gain. It goes very, very deep. Because what is Hashem's ratzon? He wants you to enjoy, right? No. Why did Hashem create the world?
For us.
To give to us. So if you want to do it lishma, how do you do it lishma? You have to do it for yourself.
You're saying, if I want to do it selfishly?
No. If you want to do it selflessly, how do you do it selflessly? You should do it for the purpose that Hashem wanted. But that's for you. How do we figure that out? It's a big problem.
But Hashem, you're saying what Hashem?
Yehuda, what's better, to serve Hashem because you want to get schar, or to serve Hashem because you want to honor Hashem? To honor Hashem. Now, why did Hashem create the world? For us to get schar. Now I'm going to ask you again, what's better, to serve Hashem so I should get schar, or to serve Hashem to honor Hashem? Yeah, but isn't the ultimate being an eved to a melech to have the same agenda as the melech?
No. Just because the melech's agenda doesn't mean that's our agenda.
The melech's agenda is the absolute true agenda, though. This is not like the melech malchim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. Why are we here?
Because Hashem's doing it for us and we're doing it for him.
That's not, Hashem didn't create the world for himself. He created the world for us.
But getting smart, you're also honoring Hashem.
What are you, making a salad? Throw in a little for Hashem, a little for us. What am I doing here? What? True, but again, what is my purpose? When I open my eyes in the morning, I want to do what? I think the most lishma could be is I want to get schar. Like, well, that sounds so selfish. No, that's why Hashem created the world. And the Mesilas Yesharim says not that way, right? We just saw it. It's not that way.
Because it's a relationship. And in a relationship, it's, even though one person wants to get the other person, it's wants to get back to the other person or Hashem in this situation. So Hashem's giving us scars, so we want to give him honor.
If your wife wants to give you a present, would you say, don't give me the present, I want to give you a present? Would she be happy with that? No. What does she want? She wants you to take the present. That's a relationship, right? None of you are wrong. I want to explain an oimik here. If my wife wants to give me a present and I receive it, let's say she buys me a new cell phone, okay? So that's cool. And I take it, I can have two reasons to take this present. Both of them are that I want to do what she wants, which is that I should have the present. But I can take the present because I know how happy it will make her that I have this present. Or I can take this present because I don't care much about her, but I love a new phone. You see that you can have the same goal, but it really depends how you have that goal. So that's what the point is here. Of course, Lishma is, as you said, it's a relationship. I am here that I want the will of the king to be established. Hashem created me, and I'm here for the agenda of His Ratzon. Now, what is His Ratzon? His Ratzon is to give to me. So I want to take from Him. But not because I selfishly am focused on myself. I want Him to have the nachas of giving to me. It's a deeper level. It's the ultimate level of Lishma. Okay? I am going to prove this to you. If this sounds like some kind of a difficult philosophical accomplishment here, I'm going to prove it to you. Okay? Can I prove it to you? In a few weeks, we're going to read Parshas Lech Lecha. I know it seems like it's in a year, but it's a few weeks away. We're going to read Parshas Lech Lecha. Parshas Lech Lecha begins with the mitzvah that Hashem gave Avram Avinu to go to Eretz Yisrael. Correct? Lech Lecha me'artzecha u'mimayladetecha u'mibeis avicha el ha'aretz asher arecha. What is Lecha? Lech Lecha. Go for yourself. What does Rashi say on Lech Lecha? Says Rashi, Lahana oscha u'letoivascha. Go for your benefit and your good. Now, a few psukim later, it says, Vayelech Avram kasher diber Hashem. Avram went as HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded. And the Farshim point out, he didn't go for himself. He went because HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him to. 1 second, but Hashem told him to go for himself. The answer is that the ultimate lishma is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have nachas when I receive the schar that I am due to receive by serving Him properly. So I'm not serving Hashem. There's like, I'm going to say like in 3 levels, so to speak. I can serve Hashem because I love pleasure. I love pleasure, and I believe in Hashem, so I have learned that as much pleasure as could exist in this world is nothing compared to the pleasure that exists in the next world. So I'm a businessman, and I want to maximize my investment. So I could become wealthy and enjoy all the juicy delicacies of this world with the knowledge that it's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what I would get if I invested in Torah and Avodah and Gemilas Chasadim. So I'm a good investor, I'm a smart investor, and I invest in learning Torah. I come to Yeshiva and I give him a Mesilas Yesharim share. That's a good investment. I could be an investment banker in the city. I'm bringing in a lot of money into my Olam Hazeh account, but instead I'm teaching Mesilas Yesharim and getting a lot of schar in my Olam Haba account. Which account do you think is richer? That one. I'm a smart businessman. That's level number 1. Is that lishma or loy lishma? What? Absolutely loy lishma. Am I doing it for me or for Hashem?
So lishma is for yourself.
Lishma is for Hashem. Okay? Loy lishma, I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it to give nachas to Hashem. In a sense, I'm kind of using Hashem. I know that if I learn Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give me massive schar. And I want that schar. I'm a smart businessman. I'm smarter than every guy in the city right now who's been toiling since 7 this morning on making money. I am smarter. I am just going for a higher currency. Okay? Good? But then there's a higher level. The higher level is it's not for me. It's not about my schar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought me into this world. I want to serve Him. I'm His servant. There is no honor. There is no joy that's greater than just serving Hashem. It's not about what I'm going to get. It's about what I am. I'm a servant of Hashem, and I just want to do it to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, it's like we talked about in our Tuesday share a few weeks ago about marriage. You brought up relationship. That's why I'm bringing that parallel. That I didn't get married because I want to enjoy having the things that a wife provides for me. Of course, that's there. But I got married because I want the opportunity to be able to provide for someone else and to give them that happiness and so on and so forth. That's Lishma, right? But Rabbi say that's not the highest level of Lishma. The highest level of Lishma is that I'm doing it to serve Hashem who wants me to get schar. Now, the two levels I just described are not really that different than each other, because one of them explains a little more than the other. But when I daven, when I'm davening to Hashem, someone would say, "Are you davening because you want schar?" So I say, "Yes." The person says, "Oh, it's loy lishma." Not so fast. It depends. Am I doing it because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to get schar and I want to participate in that because I love Hashem? Like when I take a gift that I know will make the person so happy to give me? Or am I doing it because I don't really care much about Hashem? I really just want what Hashem has to offer. There's a very big nafkamina here, something to think about. And that is as follows. Yehuda, I'm going to continue to follow your relationship comparison here. Okay? What's the difference between me getting a phone from my wife that I'm taking because I know how happy it will make her for me to have that joy through her, or if I'm taking the phone because I happen to like, I'm not so interested in her gifts, but phones I am interested in, I'll take the phone. Okay? Chas v'shalom. Okay? What the difference is my wife part of that picture? Is she incidentally the one who gave it to me? Or is the idea here that this is something I got from her? So let's say my wife says to me, "I bought you a new phone." And it happens to be Yehuda bought me a phone the day before. So never mind, I have one already. No, and if I'm just interested in a new phone, it doesn't really matter who bought me the phone or where I got it or if I robbed it from an iPhone store. It doesn't really matter, right? I have my phone that I want. But if it's that I want to give Hashem the nachas that He gave me schar, or in my mashal of the phone, I want my wife to feel the joy of having given me a present, then I would say, Yehuda, take your phone back. My wife wants to give me a phone. I want to get it, no offense, but I want to get it from her. Because she's part of the picture. Because this is not just a present that's separate. If you have a gift that you love, and you don't remember who gave it to you, then it's about the gift. But if when you have a gift, you'll never forget, oh, I got this from my parents, my wife, my brother, my chavrusa, whatever it is, then the gift is just carrying the love of the person that gave you the gift. So that's our goal when we serve Hashem, that we want to be able to receive what Hashem has to give us because we want to be close to Hashem, as Yehuda said, because we want the relationship. And that's the ultimate lishma. I'm doing it to honor Hashem, and I know that Hashem wants me to do what I need to do to get that schar. But it's not about the schar, it's about who's giving me the schar. That's what I'm focused on. So just the last word in the third to the bottom line. Who sheyiyah ha'adam oived, that a person should serve rak leman asher kvoidai shel ha'adam baruch hu yigdal v'yirba. I just want Hashem's kavod to grow. V'zeh, how could a person reach that point? How could a person reach that point that it's not about me, it's about the Rabbi Shalom? How could a person, some people when they hear selfless things like that, they don't understand, like, I'm so selfish, I don't understand the mindset of selflessness. You know, I one time was teaching in camp, and we were talking about the fact that if somebody put a gun to your head and said, bow to an idol, you're mechuyev to die. And there was a guy in the shir, he was like 11th graders or something, actually a friend of yours. There was a guy in the shir who told me that he would bow. He wouldn't die. He would bow. He just doesn't think he would give up his life. And I appreciated the honesty, because I'm sure there are others that were thinking that. It takes a tremendous kaya. Imagine, I mean, there are generations of Jews that have laid down their lives for the honor of Hashem, but when push comes to shove, to really be there, imagining it happening and doing it, you know, it's something. But what's really at the core of it is that for a young American kid to imagine a level of selflessness that I'm ready to give up my life, it's not easy. It's not natural for us. And the truth is that it could be he just wasn't old enough. Because at a certain point when you work on relationships, you start to develop the capacity to have relationships that are not about you. When you're young, everything is about you. Imagine a new baby is born. That baby right now, he doesn't have a mother. He has a milk machine that takes care of him. Even the love that he feels is all for him. And then as he grows up, now he's 3 years old. What are his parents for? They're to provide for him. And unfortunately for many of us, when we're 16, not much has changed. Our parents are here to provide for us. They're here to give us. How much could we get? What could we leverage here? How much could we get out of them? But at a certain point in life, you start to first of all see your parents as human beings, separate from just givers to me. And then this unbelievable life-changing thing happens to you, which is that you should all be zeicha to it, which is that you have a child. When you have a child, suddenly you realize that it is possible to have a feeling of, I will die for this child. And it's not something that would be a madrega, it's a natural feeling. I would die for this child. Whatever it takes. If someone is going to hurt the child, I will jump between that person and my child, and I will take the blow so my child doesn't get hurt. So, I'm good. So, you see what I mean, that as you get older and you experience more of life, you develop the capacity to have selflessness and to be able to imagine giving yourself completely over to another. Getting married is the beginning of that, as we've talked about. Being able to do that. The goal, Rabbi say, and this is what we look forward to, the goal is to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in everything that we have in our lives and to try to develop that relationship with Him until such a point. The goal of this Mesilas Yesharim is not to sit down and try to push yourself unnaturally to think, it's not about me, it's about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not going to work, I promise you it won't work. The goal is to experience life to such a degree. The goal is to experience life to such a degree that you just start having that feeling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know, each time you notice a chesed of Hashem, you make a note of that. Look what Hashem did for me. I'm healthy today. I have a parnasa today. I'm well fed. I have this chus to sit in the house of Hashem and to learn His Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves me. And as life goes on, sometimes there are difficulties in life, but as life goes on, I'm zeicha to get married. A person can get lost in the marriage. I don't know why I'm looking at you, but a person can get lost in the marriage and not take the moment, which I'm sure you do, to step back and to be like, Hashem did this for me. This came from Hashem. I can't believe it. Look what Hashem did for me. And then some time passes and you're holding a baby in your hands. You're like, this is just unbelievable. Look what Hashem provided for me. At a certain point, I believe that a person could reach a point that naturally he starts to feel like, what could I do for Hashem? I'm just taking so much, and I'm not even in the world of schar. This is just Eilam Hazeh. This is nothing. What could I do for Hashem for everything He's given me? And to have that sense of serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I need to do something for the HaKadosh Baruch Hu that did so much for me. And that's what he says here. This happens after your love for Hashem becomes strong. And you'll have a taiva. You know what a taiva is? A person has a desire, he has a taiva. El hagdolas kevodah, that Hashem's honor should increase. Umitztaer al kol sheyamait mimenu, and he feels incredible pain for any lack of honor to Hashem's kavod. Ki oz, when he has that level of love for Hashem, ya'avoid avoidosai l'tachlis zeh, he will serve for this purpose. Shelepachos mitzido yekvoida yizvarach mizgadol. I can't do anything about the massive chilul Hashem that exists in the world, but there's one corner of the world that I can control, and that is my corner of the world, and I can make my corner of the world a bastion of kavod shemayim. V'yisave, and I can have a desire shekol shar b'nei adam yiyu k'moikein, that other people should be like that as well. V'yitzta'er v'yisanach, and I feel tsar and I groan. Al kol mashem ematim shar b'nei adam, on the extent that other people lessen the honor of Hashem. The kolshken al mashem emaya tu atzmi, and certainly any lack of kavod shemayim that comes from me, unfortunately, gives me tremendous tsar. This is what tshuva is this time of year. B'shaygig, or b'oines, even if I'm focused on serving Hashem, but we make mistakes. We forget things, we wake up late, inadvertently we say things we shouldn't say. We have limits to our strength. Oy b'chol shas hateva. We're weak sometimes, our nature is weak, and it's hard for us to do everything. We're human beings, we're not malachim, but even as a human being who's limited, I don't just say, sorry, too bad. I don't do that. I have a sense, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I wish I was stronger, and if I was stronger, I would do even more. So he says that's b'chol shas hateva asher kosher lo lishomer min hachatoim b'chol leis. It's difficult to hold back from aveiros ki inyan hakosu ki odom ein tzadik ba'oretz asher yaseh tov v'lo yechta. It's difficult for a person. There's no person in the world that can only do good and not make any mistakes. Yechta doesn't necessarily mean an aveira, but it means missing the mark in serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that's a limitation that I have. And sometimes we have this, like we just feel like if I had more strength, I would do more. But even that Ratzain does something for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to do even more than I have the physical ability to do. When you love someone so much, you'll find that you want to do more than you financially or physically could do for them. So the best you could do is just the limit of what you can do. And then the rest has to be carried by your Ratzain to do. And that's the goal with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We should be Zaycha to be able to touch that Madrega.